all the companies, and we are members now of Virtuoso since 1996. And that is an organization that pairs the top travel agencies with the top travel providers. And tonight we have four of our absolute favorites here tonight. I'm going to introduce them in just a minute. But I also wanted to say that at Wallace Pearson Travel, we totally believe in the power of travel as part of a great education, a well-rounded education. And I'm sure you've all seen the benefits of that because I know you're all well-traveled. And to that end, Angela and Eric are making a huge sacrifice. And they're taking their two little girls, 7 and 9, on a round-the-world trip starting in May. And I get to spend the first month in Australia with them, and we've just about got all that tied down, and I'm so excited. It's going to be so amazing. Of course, the rest of us are going to be working real hard. They're going to be working from the road, so those of you that work with Angela, don't let up on her. But I'll be here to support it, as will Melinda. Melinda is virtual, and Angela will be virtual, and the two of them work like crazy well together. So I'm really excited about that. So with that, I'm going to introduce our panel for this evening. We think that this might be a really great, interesting forum for all of you to hear all four of them at one time and to be able to get your arms around this whole luxury cruise product. Start with Crystal, and we'll have Monique Ross come up and have a seat. And I guess we'll have to do Regent next. And then we'll have to do Seabourn, Amy Crutchfield-Smith, and John Wilson with Silver Sea. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Angela, and you guys sit back and enjoy.
Okay, so Monique will start, and we'll, I think what would be really great is if you'll let us know kind of what makes your line unique. What do you feel your company shines best with?
All right, so there's 4 great vendors up here this evening, and you'll hear a little bit about all of us. And some of you guys have already stopped by the table, and you're like, oh my goodness, what do I pick up? What makes Crystal really special is the fact that we are a brand portfolio of luxury products, but across different types of experiences for you. So not only do we have the ocean ships, but we have our river product, we have our yacht, and we have our expedition. So depending upon how you want to travel, we're going to be able to seamlessly transition you from one type of ship to another. And of course, continuing to deliver on the service, the high level of food quality, the great entertainment that we provide, and that we've become known for over the years. We've been around for over 28 years and got into this other business in 2016 and are taking an award. So if you love Crystal and Ocean, you're going to love us across the other experiences as well.
Thank you. And so the inclusive aspect of our product is what truly makes us special. One of the things that we include is, for example, business class air. So for itineraries that involve an intercontinental flight, business class air would be included in those fares. Shore excursions is another component that we include in our product. So shore excursions that are valued, for example, up to $200 per person that you would typically, purchase on a cruise, we include those. And it's unlimited, so as much energy as you have, you can take part in an included shore excursion in the morning, in the afternoon. If we're there late in the evening, do an evening one as well. So.
Hey, y'all. I'm Amy. I'm the local yokel from Seabourn. I live in Atlantic Beach, just down the road a bit. So I'm delighted to be here tonight. I'm with Seabourn. There's 3 things that set Seabourn apart in our portfolio of great choices here tonight. And trust me, if you take any of these brands, you're going to come home happy and spoiled rotten. Okay? So with that said, one of the 3 things that make us a little bit different than the rest, number 1, we have the youngest fleet. We have 5 ships, and ours are fairly young vessels. Our youngest ship was christened last year, 2018, and our oldest ship was christened in 2009. So we have a very young fleet, and the other nice thing is that they're all identically laid out. So you take one Seabourn, That's great. You're happy, and then you take another one, and then you know instantly where everything is. Secondly, we also, our partnerships. We partner in culinary with Thomas Keller, in spa and wellness with Dr. Andrew Weil, and we are partners with UNESCO World Heritage Sites around the world. And we also include caviar and champagne, so you can live your Robin Leach dreams and have caviar wishes and champagne dreams, or whatever. What did he say? Champagne dreams and caviar wishes.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Wilson with Silver Sea. One of the things that really makes Silver Sea different are the destinations. We go to more destinations than anyone else in the world. We go close to 1,000, 968 different destinations, which means we don't have cookie cutter itineraries. You can be on the med on us for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and not repeat a port of call. We go everywhere from Antarctica to the Arctic, as local as round trip Fort Lauderdale, Caribbean. So again, wherever you want to be, we're probably going. Or even if you don't know you want to go, we're going. So keep that in mind, because we are destination focused. And once you're on board, we are all inclusive on board, all luxury. We're all about the service. The one thing we do have that I don't believe anyone else has, we have a butler for everyone. Every one of you will get a butler. And that butler is going to do everything for you, to shine your shoes, to clean your glasses, to draw you a bath, even if you don't want one. Okay?
Well,
thank you.
John, that was actually a perfect segue for the next question. Knowing that each of you have absolutely stunning ships that are very sought after, what can you say about the focus and design of your shore experiences?
On shore, they're individual, because we also have two different products. When I say that, we have our classic cruises, and then we have expedition cruises. We have 5 classic ships, 4 expedition ships. The on board, the shore experiences can be as much as you want or as little as you want. What we have found in the past is that a lot of our guests truly are extremely well traveled, especially to some of the destinations. The Mediterranean, for example, we found that most of our guests have been there 10, 12 times. It's a repeat destination. What's the most popular thing for them to do is the free transfer into town. They wanted lunch and have shop. But over in Asia, on our classic fleet, we do include all the shore excursions, because in Asia, what we found is that is an extremely once or twice in a lifetime destination. So we really focus the shore experiences on where you are and the bulk of our passengers want to go.
With Seabourn, we have a type of shore excursion called Ventures by Seabourn. And what these are soft adventure type programs that are optional. Many times we launch them off the back of our vessels. Each vessel has a collapsible marina off the back, where we'll get off the ship in a catamaran, a kayak, a Zodiac, and we'll do small groups, and we'll go places where others can't fit, basically. But not only, and we're not going to just put you in a kayak and let you go out there and pray to God you make it back. We're going to send a naturalist with you, or perhaps one of our guests. Well, we don't call them lecturers. We call them our conversations. And they are the experts. They're naturalists. They're maybe an expert on bears, an ornithologist who's an expert in birds, whales, glaciers, depending on where you are. So our shore excursions are optional, but they are more experiential. Many of our guests, just like John's guests, are well-traveled. They also like to travel well. But we like to take people to places in small groups, intimate, authentic, and experiential. Does that answer the question?
Yes, perfect. So with Regent, due to the feedback from our past passengers and our guests, one of the things that we heard was that they really wanted a more immersive experience at these ports. They wanted to live like the locals. And one of the things that we have to offer is our Go Local tours. And these would be tours like go fishing with the residents of Portofino, or, for example, visit a family-owned goat farm in Spain, in the countryside of Spain, and learn how to make cheese. So our Go Local tours, what's so great about them is that we have both the included ones as well as the Regent Choice ones as well. So it's there's something for everyone, a lot of choices, and that's just a segment of part of our shore excursion program.
So with Crystal, and I feel like I have to do double teaming here, is we're a little different because we have our ocean ships where the shore excursions are optional. However, with our yacht, with our expedition, even with our river, we have included shore excursions. So you have so many shore excursions to choose from each port. What we do is we are offering the choices for our guests, because what we've all just talked about, we're well traveled, we've gone to these places, we want activities, we want immersion. So we're going to offer from those highlights, whether it's doing a hike up the mountain or visiting that local, farm and, having a meal prepared for you. But we're also doing volunteerism. So we have different itineraries that we offer where you can go into a port and actually make a difference. Whether it's helping to rebuild a school, or you're going and doing something for a church or a landmark that is there that needs some improvements. So we're looking at guests differently. They're not just going out to go to the center of town and buy the souvenirs. They've done that. You guys have done those things already. So we are looking at what the immersion is that the guests are asking for, and that is where we're finding the best success and making a more well-rounded trip for you when you travel.
I'm starting to think that they've all done this before or got a list of my questions ahead of time, because that does lead into another great question we had. Can you name a way that your brand is making a positive impact on the world?
Ooh.
So you kind of did a little of that. But if
Yeah, a
you'd
little
like
bit of
to
that.
expand.
Well, yeah, they hired all of us, and the world is a better place now. Kumbaya. No, well, one thing that we have done with our new ships that we've been bringing out since 2016 is we've really gone to a paperless environment on board wherever possible. So with our yacht, with the river, with the new expedition coming out in 2020, everything is basically paperless in your room. You have iPads that you're going to operate off of, to control your television. And don't fear, you have your butlers that can help you with that. They will show you how to operate all of that. But then, of course, we mentioned already about the volunteerism and giving back to the communities that we're going to and providing to that. We've done the Northwest Passage, and a lot of those funds also were rolled into supporting the different villages and areas that we traveled throughout. So I think that you'll hear from all of us that it's very important. We live in this world, we travel this world, and without the world, we wouldn't have jobs, and the ships, there wouldn't be a reason for you to go to these places.
One of the things that stick out is natural disasters. I'm sorry. So one of the things that we did when the hurricane hit 2 years ago down in the Caribbean is we partnered up with an organization called Heart and Hand. And we helped raise and donated $2.5 million to the islands that were affected by that hurricane. And I think we all, contribute just because those are places that we visit and are near and dear to our heart overall. But that's one of the things that stick out for me.
Seabourn is the official cruise partner of UNESCO World Heritage Sites around the world. And when I say partner, that means we basically pay them. Bribery works. And what that translates for our guests on board Seabourn ships is when you take a shore excursion with us to a UNESCO site, we get behind the rope, so to speak, as well as the head of that site comes and speaks to our guests and gives us some insight to what that site is doing for preservation. And the nice thing is that it is an optional shore excursion that people pay, and a portion of the part that you pay is donated to the preservation of that site, and we match that. Seabourn has donated up to $1 million thus far to UNESCO World Heritage Sites around the world. We go to over 150 of them. And so we're trying our best for sustainability and preserve our cultural and natural treasures of the world, or we won't have any place to go if we don't take care of them, right?
Okay. With that being said, on Silversea, we do have expedition ships as well. So the expedition ships are extremely environmentally friendly, but not just speaking about environment, but when we go to places that are extremely remote, we'll go up the west coast of Africa, for example. And when we do this, we actually encourage our guests to actually bring school supplies, which has gotten at this point, we have to have trucks now. It used to be bring a note and yeah. But literally, people show up with trunks of stuff, and we literally go out into the jungles in some place where very often it's the first time these kids have seen pen and paper that they can call their own. They've had to share. So we do a lot of that. We bring a lot of this to the local communities that are so desolate literally out in the middle of nowhere. So that's a very big thing we're doing. It really makes kids happy. A lot of our guests have told us that this was one of the best things they've ever done in their lives. And literally, they'll come back and do the same thing on the following year, but again, with 2 trunks instead of 1 trunk this time.
A lot of us are really getting into the multi-gen travel. So maybe you could all tell us a little bit about your policy and feelings towards having children on board your vessels.
Well, we are more of an adult cruise line during the year, but we do have children's counselors on board during the summer seasons because the kids are showing up anyway, so we might as well do something with them. So with that being said, we are very multi-generational friendly. Alaska and in Europe on our larger ships, we do have a full children's program on board during the holidays and during the summer season. One place that has become extremely children are going to is the Galapagos now. We are getting a lot of multi-generational groups on Galapagos. We're getting grandparents with the grown children and then kids starting from 6 and up. I'm going to give you this when it comes to children on Galapagos. I had an agent come back and told me that her client said to her it was the best time she ever spent with her grandchildren because it was the first time she had a conversation that they did not have a device in their hand the whole time. So, again, great places.
That's brilliant. I'm a little biased. My very first cruise of my life I took with my grandfather who was 85. And he introduced me to travel and, the lovely world of cruising. With Seabourn, much like Silver Sea, we're not really focused on, we're an adult cruise line. We don't have like a Johnny Rockets or the Rock Climbing Wall, but we do have more and more children are traveling when Grandmommy and Granddaddy are paying. And they do bring kids to Alaska, and also in the summer breaks. We do create programs for them on board, and we'll bring on a youth counselor. The nice thing is before you embark on any of our ships, we know everybody's ages, so we know how many kids of each age group we have, and we do our very best to keep them occupied and very busy. So those of you who don't want to take a vacation with some other person's kids or grandkids, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. They're isolated. They won't be running around the ship crazy. But we're family friendly. Like Alaska is becoming more and more family focused. It's a great destination for kids, especially since we're doing so much off the ship, adventure-wise.
Ditto, pretty much. In terms of, I was at an event the other day, and someone asked, "Do you have any cruises that there's no kids?" And we don't have any adult-only cruises, but like all of my peers here said, you typically tend to see children sail with us during the summer months. So we do have an organized children's program for our Alaska destination as well as the Med during the summer. We are seeing a big trend in multi-generational travel. So much in Alaska, for example, this year, we are offering for our 7-night sailings, kids sail for as low as $4.99 per person, and for a 10-night sailing, kids sail for free. So.
Yeah, we don't have kids prices, by the way.
Neither do we.
We do. No, pretty much ditto. What everybody said. But we, at Crystal, we do have a dedicated children's area on both of our ocean ships, not with the river, the yacht, or the expedition, but on our full ocean ships, we do have dedicated children's areas, and we do have counselors on board at all times. Just like my peers, obviously the summer, holidays can be a little bit busier with the families as well. We do have a family program, which is for groups, and we call it Crystal Memories, and it is for friends and family. It doesn't necessarily have to be all family, where we do have children under 17. When they're booking with 2 adults in the room, they are going to go for free. Just like everybody up here, we don't have tons of children on the ships. We don't have, the caricatures with the big giant heads running around, and we don't have those water slides and things like that, but we do definitely get the well-traveled families, families that are exposing their children to different things around the world and not using the cruises as the destination of where they're going. A lot of cruises now are the destination. People don't even care where they go because they never get off the ship. I think I could speak for most of us for what we do. We are not just the destination. We want the destination to be wonderful for you when you guys are on board, but we're also delivering on that immersion and those once-in-a-lifetime experiences when you're ashore, and we're finding that much more appealing to the multi-generational families now.
Okay, I think I'll ask one last one, and then we'll do some questions and answers. Each panelist in attendance represents a wonderful option for luxury cruise experiences. Please identify an outstanding quality in one of the lines represented other than your own.
Seabourn has caviar on board that they include, and I'm really fighting for that on Crystal. No, really, that's my answer. You're welcome. No, we all have really great qualities. But yeah, I just, it's so hard to like pinpoint one thing. I mean, John, they've got beautiful smaller ships that do a lot of destinations that because of the depth of your, fleet, you can do that. You got free caviar. She has caviar, guys. And then, of course, Regent does include all of their shore excursions. Well, most of your shore excursions on your ocean. So, see, I covered everybody. Go ahead. Take the mic away from me.
I think there's a cruise line out there for everyone. You certainly can't go wrong with any of us here today. But I will say I think, Silver Seas Expedition product is pretty neat. And so.
Well, now I have to say something really nice about Crystal, right? Well, they have a wonderful experience, whether it be on an ocean vessel, an expedition ship, a yacht, a plane, a river. They got multimodal, man. What are you going to do next? A rocket ship? Cool. Crystal rocket ship. And then I just love Silver Sea. They are, I think, our closest competitor as far as hardware and itineraries. But I have to say, I love your president. Mark Conroy is big fan, big fan. And Regent, I have to say, they have by far the biggest and heaviest brochure you've ever seen in your life. And lovely people that work for them.
It does make a statement. Regent's brochure. Nicole has developed muscles now because of that. Yes. So, but again, we all have something different, but we are similar in a lot of ways as well. Again, you cannot go wrong once you get to this level of cruising, because once you get to this level of cruising, you're not going to go back. So that's, we want you to get to this level, and you might bounce around from one line to another, but we want you to bounce between us. So keep that in mind. But one thing I will say, now I'm a gambler, I have to admit, and Crystal's casinos are fantastic. So, so if you're, well, let's not talk about that. It's a donation. Let's say I leave the ATM card at home when I go. Okay. But again, Crystal has great casinos. But again, we all offer something unique. And again, you cannot go wrong.
So I want to just wrap up a little bit before we start the question and answers, and just mention that Wallace Pearson Travel has some really special relationships with all of these suppliers. Partly because we're all part of the amazing family called Virtuoso, where we all go every August. Most of you know this already. And we work remotely from Las Vegas, and we meet with not only the representatives here today, but all of their presidents, every single company that's in Virtuoso. So if there's ever a really special opportunity or a challenge that happens from time to time, we really do have connections with the presidents of the companies. We also, in addition to Virtuoso groups, Wallace Pearson Travel has our own groups on board all of these vessels you can ask the reps about. And so there's a lot of added value. Price point might not change much, but the things that we include with that are pretty exciting. Some really special shore excursions that you can't book any other way except to be part of our group. And also hosted a familiar face to dine with and things like that go on the private shore excursion with you. So we've got a lot of really great relationship-driven value-added opportunities as well. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and open it up if anyone's got a question for any of these fabulous ladies or gentlemen.
Don't be shy.
Come on.
Come on,
There
I
we
know
go.
you have questions.
For each of you, the smallest ship or boat or whatever you call it, how many people would you seat?
Okay, well, we have two different products. So the Expedition, the smallest ship we have, is 100. And on the Classic Fleet, it's 296 guests.
We have 5 vessels. Our 2 newest ships carry 600 guests in all veranda suites, and our 3 smaller ships carry 450 guests.
We have currently 4 vessels sailing, and the 5th one will be out in February of next year. And our most intimate ship is 490 guests, and it ranges all the way up to 750 guests.
All right, get out your paper and pen. So I've got 2 ocean ships. We'll start from the larger side because they all kind of listed everything they have too. I have 2 ocean ships at 848 guests or 980. I've got 5 river ships that are going to range from 106 passengers to 154 guests. I have a new Expedition coming in August 2020 that will hold a total of 200 passengers. And I have my intimate yacht, who is only 62 very lucky guests on almost a weekly basis. So a big range for what, depending on how you want to travel and where.
Where does the yacht go?
The yacht right now is out of St. Martin until April. She's alternating on 7-day Western BVIs and West India itineraries. They can also be done very nicely into a 2-week back-to-back, with the only spot being done twice is St. Bart's. So St. Bart's is the only repeat in a 2-week itinerary. She will be over in the Adriatic for the rest of the summer. Very limited space this year, again with only 31 rooms on board. And we will be in the Arabian Peninsula at the end of this year. She will not come back to the Caribbean, though, for 2020. We're going to keep her over on that side of the world. She'll be doing Seychelles itineraries, and then returning to the Adriatic, the Mediterranean, and then returning to the Arabian Peninsula at the end of 2020.
I wanted to mention, it's so funny how everybody wants to know how many people are in your ship. Nobody asked that of a hotel. How many people do you sleep? But it's in our mind, we want to know size, right? And keep in mind, with all of these luxury lines you're looking at today, space is really the key. Unlike the airlines, who are trying to cram as many people as they can on one plane, what makes us, one things that makes us luxury is space per guest. Space ratios and service ratios matter in the luxury market. We have more space per guest than than the mass markets and the premium lines. That's what kind of separates luxury. That's one of the things. So keep in mind, it's space per guest, not number of guests. So just for an example, my ship was 600 guests. The size of the ship, any other cruise line would put 900 to 1,000 people on board, but we only carry 600. So that kind of clarifies the numbers. No lines, no crowds, caviar.
I'm kind of hoping you brought some tonight.
I guess my question is for Regent. And is there any thought of adding any new ports? We've been cruising with Regent for probably 10 years, and there has been nothing new added at all.
You know, we're always looking at our itineraries and really trying to figure out where our guests are wanting to go that have not been. We have a couple of fairly new itineraries out in the books. One that I think about is our round trip Japan itinerary, round trip Tokyo itinerary that out of 14 nights, it visits 8 different Japan ports, so it's a true immersion. We have a great round trip Cape Town itinerary, or a round trip Australia itinerary, round trip Sydney itinerary. So we are always looking at our itineraries. And I would say in the last year and a half, we've come out with some pretty new itineraries that we have not had in the past, or visiting new ports. For example, one of the ones that come to mind in the Caribbean is Havana. You we were one of the first luxury lines to visit Cuba. And now it's not only Havana that we're visiting, we're doing a true immersion of Cuba, where we're doing itinerary, for example, where it's overnighting in Cienfuegos, overnighting in Santiago, and visiting Havana as well. So. And then, of course, look at you, Amy. We will be introducing our newest ship, the Seven Seas Splendor, and I will say that with now having 5 ships in our fleet, it does give us the ability to move, for example, one of our very well-liked ships, simply because of the nature of it being the newest, the Seven Seas Explorer. So in the winter of 2020, she will be moving over and doing the South Pacific, Asia, and also even coming back, she's coming back east, doing Alaska. So repositioning the ships, our newer ships, to new areas as well is something that we focus on.
Any other questions? Or should we have some more wine and let the ladies and gentlemen go back to their tables and have some? Yes.
Can you talk to the handicapped accessible ships and limitations on that?
Sure. All of our vessels are handicap accessible. We have a handicap accessible suites, as well as the shore excursions that we offer. There are select shore excursions that are accessible as well. And we will list that information in the documents that we send out for shore excursions, that it will give a description and basically letting you know the activity level of each of our shore excursions.
And you and I had already had this conversation one-on-one, but for the benefit of the rest of the crowd, our ocean ships, ditto. You don't have to listen to that all again from me. But our yacht is not going to be handicapped accessible. It does not have an elevator. We do a lot of Zodiac landings, because some of the destinations that we go to the point of finding new destinations, sometimes it's not an issue that we don't want to find new ports and destinations to take you to, but there are the logistics. There's different issues with countries. There's how we get into these ports. They don't have ports developed. If we take you there, is it safe? Are there things that you can do from where we come in? So there's a lot of challenges with that. But when we get into the smaller ships, we're able to go to some of these more unique remote destinations. But by doing that, we also are using the Zodiacs, the rubber rafts that take you into shore, and we do what we call wet landings. The river is going to be a whole nother animal. If you've been on, who's done a river cruise? Because we're going to have river cruising next month. A lot of the ships, when they come into the river, they tether to each other. So when you get off one ship, you're walking over other ships. So it wouldn't even matter if the ship itself was handicap accessible. You would still not be able to get off the ship to start with. So keep that in mind. The expedition will have the handicapped accessible rooms, but because of the nature of it being expedition, for at least where we're putting our expedition ship, you would be challenged about not being able to take many of the excursions because of where we're coming into.
Much like Nicole said at Region 7 Seas, but at Seabourn, our ships all have ADA compliant handicap suites available. But I think with any line you want to look at when you tender versus when you're in a port. And that will make a big difference, because sometimes the tendering can be a challenge with a wheelchair. But the same thing, we are ADA compliant. We do our very best to take care of our guests that are can't do the stairs. So we treat you with. Oh, and there's caviar. Different time.
There's caviar. Ditto on Silver Sea for the classic ships. Our Ocean Grove, fully ADA compliant, no problems. But suites are fully handicapped acceptable. But on the expedition ships, the answer is no. And the reason is that the expedition ships, the landings are all Zodiac landings. There has to be people before they'll build a pier, and there's no people, so there's no and literally you're getting out in the water, usually up to your ankles, or sometimes even high up to your knees. So you really do need to be able to do that, because also just to sit on an expedition ship, if you are unable to go ashore, there's really not a lot to do, because on expedition travel, it's all about the destination.
Charlotte, I think you had a question.
I was just going to ask John. Now, Seven Seas, they have all suites.
We have all suites, yes.
Seabourn.
Yes. Her too. We're all suites, and actually 3 out of our 4 ships are suites with verandas.
Oh,
And no, I have ocean views, I have verandas, and then I have suites on the full-size ocean ships. The river, the yacht, and the expedition are all suite categories. So,
What about entertainment on the ship? Is it able to have everybody, or you gotta do early show?
That's a good question. I would say, I know when you think of, smaller numbers and guests, these are not necessarily smaller ships. So the best way that I can put it, we have everything the larger ships have, including a main theater where we do Broadway-style shows. And we typically do one seating for our shows. Yes, and for example, on our Navigator, where the theater might be smaller, then in that one we'll do 2 tiers depending on.
for our ocean ships, we will actually, we can hold everybody at one time, but we do, when we have our big show productions, we will offer 2 times, as well as offer 2 smaller shows of a completely different production in one of our smaller lounges. Something that's with Crystal, because we have so many different lounges throughout the ship, that there's a lot of entertainment and things to do in the evening. So, you have your choices. Even our expedition, and it's not something that comes from my company, but it's something from me being in the business a long time, really feel that our new expedition ship coming in August of next year really is kind of a hybrid, because she does have the additional lounges. She has a casino. She has a full spa. So even though she's an expedition ship doing expedition destinations and those types of excursions and that experience, we will have those items in the evening when you're on board to also entertain you into the night as well. No, well, we have caviar, but we don't include that like that person over there does. Goodness.
I wish I liked it more. Entertainment. We have a main theater that we do have one show nightly, and the theater fits almost everybody, I believe. We also use that as a venue for checking people in. If we're in a port city that has a kind of an ugly terminal, we'll have people board the ship and then we'll check them in the theater. I do want to mention, I talked about our partnerships. One of our partners, our partnership in our entertainment, is a gentleman named Sir Tim Rice. You may not know his name, but you may know Evita, you may know Jesus Christ Superstar, you may know The Lion King. We do a Tim Rice show, and it's an amazing show, and I'm not a cruise ship show girl, but it's really fantastic. And so there's great evening entertainment there, but there's also a lounge and bar and disco area, and there's also a casino, a small casino for John.
Thank you. And by the way, we do offer caviar. Yes, it's free. It's included now. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I learned something new tonight.
Yes. Look. But with that, when it comes to entertainment on board, we do have a nightly entertainment, again, Broadway-style show. And yes, everyone can fit into the room at once. We do have a disco at night. And during the day, we do also offer lectures. A lot of times the lectures are based on destination-specific areas and sometimes general lectures as well. Some really extremely fascinating lectures on board. And we also will have culinary events on board, and basically everything you would expect on a cruise ship.
Being an interior architect and designer, I've realized that none of you really tell us what is going to happen in our suite. What the floor plan is. Do we have a walk-in closet? Do we have a safe? Do we have all the accommodations you would have at home? Or what is the closet size?
Okay, well, on Silversea, we have been voted best bathrooms afloat. We're very proud of that. With that being said, it's a full marble bathroom, separate tub, separate shower. Best way to describe the bathroom, I did a ship tour, and I told somebody that we had great bathrooms, and she said it was a travel agent. She said, I was taking her on a ship tour, she said, now I really understand what you said, because when I turned around, I was in the bathroom and there were 7 other people in there with me. So again, it's not little bathrooms. It's a full walk-in closet. There is a safe on board as well. And the suite, now I'm talking our standard suite on Silversea, a standard suite. Silver Spirit is 376 square feet. That represents 80% of the ship. Okay, so there's a bedroom area and there's a separate sitting area that can be closed off with curtains that I have to say work very well, like if somebody wants to watch TV late at night. But again, that's a standard suite, full bar setup as well.
I think most of us would have to say you're not going to compromise when you choose to sail with any of our brands. On Seabourn, all of our accommodations are suites. 95% of them have private verandas. The worst we have, and when I do my presentations here at Wallace Pearson, I always show, the first slide I show is, here, let me show you the worst we've got. It doesn't suck. It does have a walk-in closet to die for. I took pictures of the walk-in closet of a penthouse once just to take to home to show my closet guy that I said, I want that. The bathrooms on Seabourn are amazing with all double sinks, all marble appointed, separate shower and tub. My personal favorite and luxury to me, because I'm quite tall and so is my husband, is the adjustable shower head. I don't have to do back bends to get my hair wet. And if you're an interior designer, you'll probably appreciate that our two newest ships were designed by a gentleman named Adam Tahani, who's a world-renowned designer of luxury hotels and a few Thomas Keller restaurants. But I think the ladies, your advisor can show you the layouts, and all of our websites show the dimensions, but they are very roomy, and we wouldn't call them suites if they were just cabins. In our verbiage, we can't say the word cabin. There's a swear jar we have to put a quarter in.
I brought it. Yeah. So we definitely try to take the comforts that you have in your own home and incorporate them in our accommodations. And I think we do a fantastic job with that. I would say that out of our 4 ships that are currently sailing, just one of them, and our newest, the Seven Seas Explorer, has that lead-in accommodation, which is not a walk-in closet. But I would say 98% of our fleet then in that case has a walk-in closet. You know, and of course the details that we put into when we're building these ships and the comforts, you know, things like we have in the vanity area for the ladies, the magnifying, you know, mirror for when you're doing the makeup with the lighting and both sides. So definitely known for very spacious accommodations, even at that lead-in level.
All right, I got all these different products. No, in all honesty, though, like with our ocean ships, I mentioned we have ocean views, we have verandas. Those will not have walk-in closets in the penthouses and higher. With our yacht, with our river, with our expedition, they're all suite accommodations. So you will have those walk-in closets. You're going to have the double vanity sinks, this bathtub, the showers in all of your bathroom accommodations. Again, very spacious. We just went ahead and redid 2 of our ocean ships and reduced capacity, added more suites. Because what we find, and I think we all agree, with the luxury brand, our guests, you guys, are booking much further out than a typical person that may be booking a big ship product for, you know, a 5-day cruise to the Caribbean. So we book further out, and we tend to sell from the top down and the bottom up. So we added more suites to meet that demand. So the new suites that we put in, because some people do not need a bathtub, they just wanted that extra space, we put in these oversized showers. And I was just on one of the ships in December, and it holds 8 of me. We put 8 people my size into the shower to kind of give you that perspective. But, you know, as Nicole said, magnifying mirrors. The yacht is a little special. She's got anti-fog mirrors in the bathroom, double vanity. She's got a TV screen that comes through the mirror if you can't, you know, pull yourself away from the news when you're brushing your teeth. The yachts, you know, the river ships, they've got, you know, Toto toilets on the Mozart. The expedition ship's going to have heated floors in the bathroom. But so not to bore everybody to sleep, all of the brochures, you know, that we put out are going to have the schematics of the vessel. Our expedition, yacht, river, they all have coffee machines in the room. They have 42-inch flat screen TV, so you're not going to be wanting for the comforts of home when you're on board. We've got guests that live year-round on our ships. They're doing those longer 135-day world itineraries. So, but definitely your advisor will be able to help you at Wallace Pearson, pair you with what is the right category for what your specific needs are.
And speaking of your Wallace Pearson advisors, we would like to do a door prize drawing from Wallace Pearson Travel for $100 shipboard credit on any, if you book a trip with Wallace Pearson on any of these fabulous cruise lines. And so, thank you, ladies and John. And if you would be
Ladies and John.
so kind as to do a name for us, since you don't know anybody here. And then we will, Mark is back here still with some fabulous wines and some LaCroix and beers and such, and some munchies, and all the ladies and gents will go back to their tables so we can have some more meaningful conversations. And thank you.